Recording. Okay, so last week we talked about 3 components of the law of victory. We said number 1, you have to have unity of vision. Everybody needs to be focused on the same goal, the same end result. So teams succeed when the players have a unified vision, no matter how much talent or potential there is. So getting everybody to see the same potential there is. So get everybody.
Okay.
Hi, my computer died.
It's okay. I'm just gonna mute you real fast. There we go. Okay. So the second thing is you have to have diversity of skills. So if you have a team that all has the same skill set, like if you have a team of just good quarterbacks, you don't have a good football team, right? So we talked about how it's important that you have to have diversity in skills. Can you imagine having a hockey team of just goalies? Same thing as football, is you would not have a very good team. So every organization requires diverse talents to succeed. As you guys probably all know, we have 25 instructors here, and in our Ripple Effect schools, we have 25 instructors, and every instructor has a very unique talent, and that's important because if you had a talent, say, if you were really good at teaching kicking, that was your talent, then you would have a school of just good kickers, right? And if you had an instructor who was very motivational and you had somebody who was very disciplined and that was all you had, then that would be the only talent that would, everybody would learn from. So it's the same thing, just like in any organization, you have to have diversified skills and talents. So that was the other third. And the third thing was a leader dedicated to victory and raising players to their potential. So challenging other people, somebody who is really focused on challenging their players, challenging their team. So it's true that having good players with diverse skills is important, but as leaders in the karate school, how can you express your dedication to victory? So I asked you guys that question last week. That was part of our homework. I said, what can you do to show that you're dedicated to victory, to succeeding as a black belt and a leader in the school? So some of you guys might have come up with some answers. Carter, I think last week you shared something. You said some important things that you can help. Can you share with us what you said? I'll unmute you. There you go. You're unmuted now, bud. You should be able to talk, Carter. Maybe your microphone's not working. It's okay. Anybody else while he's connecting? Anybody else? Can they share what you can do as a leader in the karate school to show how you express your dedication to victory? Okay, Ms. Addison.
You can purposely go out of your way to help others to show your dedication, and like you're also kind of just, well, helping. Yeah.
Okay, but you said something important, going out of your way. Out of your way meaning that you're really bending over backwards. You're showing that you're sacrificing. That goes in the law of sacrifice. You're sacrificing something to show other people that you're dedicated, okay, to their success. And that's that victory in raising other people to reach their fullest potential. So challenging other people is one way. Has anybody challenged anybody in the school before as a leader? Have you ever gone up to somebody and said, I think you can do better, okay? And if you haven't, that's an important step. So like Mr. Caden, I bet you've challenged people in Longmont. You said, I challenge you, I think you can do better. And so that shows that leadership skill, okay? And so I want you all next week when you're in the schools, I want you thinking about that law of victory by challenging other people, going up to somebody in the school and say, I think you can do this, or can you show me this, and can you do it better? And then you can help them, and then that shows, again, that leadership. Okay, so moving on into this week, which, by the way, I said, as a leader, what strengths and talents do you have that you are proud of? That was one of the homework assignments. I wanted you to reflect on some of your talents, some of your skills. Some of you are really good at maybe helping other people get on the mat. Miss Addison is the one of our best junior instructor is soon to be certified instructor because she shows she has this skill of being able to take a little ripple and make them feel comfortable and make them feel like they can come out on the mat. Okay. Mr. Fudge is really good at explaining things in detail and being somebody who, if they have a question, he can really help them understand things. So everybody has a very specific set of skills and talents that you're proud of. Okay, so I want you thinking about what those skills are. Can anybody share a talent that they're really proud of? Okay, Miss Maya.
My talent is cartwheels.
Okay, so can you show somebody how? Let's see your cart. Wow, that is an awesome cartwheel you just did there, Miss Maya. Do you think that you can teach somebody else how to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I want you to set a goal to teach somebody. Maybe somebody wants to learn in the school there, and you can teach them how to do that. Okay, good. And so, taking inventory. Anybody else? Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, go ahead and share. You're unmuted. Siri. There you go. Yes, ma'am.
A kick.
A kick. Okay, good. So you have a good individual talent. That is an awesome kick. Okay, so do you think you can, as a leader, you can teach somebody or you can lead by example by showing that and teaching other people how to do that?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, Mr. Ian, I think you had your hand raised.
My talent is making people laugh.
Ooh, very good. I like that one. So you like humor. You probably learned a lot from Mr. Wagner, right? Being able to show that humor in class and making other people, that's an important skill is because it makes people feel good. Okay, so the first step in practicing the law of victory is really taking responsibility for the successes of the team that you lead. It must become personal. You have to really demonstrate that kind of commitment by saying, if they don't succeed, I don't succeed. Okay, so we're going to go on to this week's now that we did a quick recap. This is one of my favorite laws. This is called the law of the big Mo. The Mo stands for momentum. That's a big word. Who can tell me what momentum means? What does that word mean? Okay, Miss Addison.
So momentum is kind of like, let's say when you're going sledding, you need momentum to go down the hill. So you kind of need like, I don't know, a jump start or like power to go down.
Good. I like the analogy because a bunch of people went sledding or have been outside recently. When you go to sledding, you see some people, they get the rock going and they get going and then they push off and it takes a lot of energy to get yourself moving. But once you get going downhill, that momentum carries you. And then if the momentum is strong enough, right, it's hard to stop. Okay. Now, what are the components of momentum? And I'm a physics person, so I like to talk physics because it helps me relate to some of these things like momentum. Momentum has a couple components to it. Okay. One of the components is mass, how big something is, right? So if I have something that's really big, like say a train, a big, huge train, who thinks it takes a lot of energy, a lot of effort to get the thing moving? Yeah, it takes a lot. Okay, and once you get that train moving though, and you get it going, and it gets faster and faster, does it take less and less energy? Yeah, it takes less energy, but then think about how much energy it takes to stop it. Okay, once you have that train going and it's really moving, right, it takes a lot. It'll plow through anything. Okay, and that's part of that law of momentum. And this is that picture that we actually used a couple of years ago as part of our staff training because we were talking about the law of momentum and we used it, we focused on it for a whole year. We talked about how important momentum was as an organization to have at your back, okay? And that really builds into that law of leadership, okay? So if you've got all the passion and tools and the people that you need to fulfill a great vision, you can't seem to get your organization moving or going in the right direction, you're dead in the water as a leader. So you have to be able to do that. And that's where leaders often fail, is that they can't get the momentum. They can't create the energy because either the vision isn't strong enough, they're not excited enough, or they can't motivate their team to get moving. Okay? And that's one of the most important parts. And if that happens, you're dead in the water. If you can't things going, then you will not succeed. So what you need in such circumstances, you need to look at the law of the big Mo and harness the power of the leader's best friend. So this is what they say. The momentum is the leader's best friend, because once you have it on your side, it's like having a 1,000-pound gorilla. It's there. It's going to help you succeed in life. Okay? We say this in class. We say inch by inch is a cinch. Why do we say this? It's an important thing that we practice and we say all the time. Yes, Miss Addison.
It's kind of like you can't do something in like, you can't do everything in a huge leap. You have to take it step by step.
Good. Okay. And what does that do when you take these small steps and you say, okay, I'm just going to do this one thing and then this other one thing? What does that do? Does that build excitement? Yeah. Every time you accomplish a task, does that build that momentum? It does, because you feel excited. You feel accomplished. You build your self-esteem and confidence in that you can succeed. So we say that inch by inch, it's a cinch. If I just focus on one little thing, like I'm going to tackle this one project or I'm going to do this one little thing, that's going to start that momentum. So it has to start small. If I just focus on the big task, like if I focused on my black belt test, if the only thing we said as white belts is, this is your black belt test, that's what you got to focus on, you got to get ready for it, you got to do everything, how much excitement and how much momentum would that start? None. Right? Everybody would go, ooh, that's way too big of a task. I can't focus on that big mountain. I have to focus on the little step. Same thing, like who likes to hike? Anybody like to hike up mountains? Okay. If I just focused on the summit and I was focused on just reaching that summit and anything else, that's a good goal. That'll get you excited. But if I just focus up there and don't look in front of me, I might not build that momentum. But every step you take and you get a little bit closer and a little closer, it starts to build. It gets easier. And then when you get closer and closer, what happens? That excitement's at your back and you get excited. Okay, so a big task is like, when we said a train is moving, you have to get it started. But it takes a lot of energy to get things going. So the things about momentum you need to know are the following. There's really 6 things that you need to know. Number 1, momentum is the great exaggerator. Okay, it makes things bigger than they really are. The law of the big Mo is easily seen in sports because it swings momentum occur in the space of a few hours, right before your eyes. You can see a change in momentum. Okay, I like football, so when I watch football and a team gets on a roll, basically you can see that momentum. Every shot seems to count. What does the opposing team do when they feel like the other team has got that momentum going? What do they normally do? Anybody ever heard the term like icing a kicker, or they take timeouts?
And what?
What, Maya?
My mom said try and take them out.
Yeah, they try to take them out. They normally will like
Not take them out, psych them out.
oh yeah, psych them out. So they try to psych them out. So they'll say or they'll take a timeout, right? That'll psych them out. Or right before they're ready to kick that winning field goal and they've got all that momentum and their team's excited and everything else, the other team's like, timeout, because they're trying to stop that momentum. They're trying to ice the kicker. They're trying to psych them out, like your mom was saying. Good. Okay, so that's an important part. So the momentum is a great exaggerator. It makes things really kind of bigger than they are. Okay? Momentum makes leaders look better than they really are. So when leaders have momentum on their side, people think that they're just geniuses. Sometimes people or coaches, they come into a team or an organization or whatever it might be, and they have a great team. They have all this momentum going, and they kind of take over, and that leader looks amazing, right? They look like they're the winners, and it's because of that law of the big Mo. The team has already got the momentum. They're just there kind of riding riding the bandwagon. So they have to keep that going though. So that's part of the next one. So they look past shortcomings. They forget about the mistakes that leaders have made. Those are all big parts of that law of the big mo. Okay. Number 3 is momentum helps followers perform better than they are. So when leadership is strong and there is momentum in an organization, people are motivated and inspired to perform at higher levels. So it kind of makes everybody look a little bit better than they really are if they're not contributing to that momentum. Momentum is or makes leaders look better than they are. So again, when leaders have momentum on their side, people think about they're like geniuses. Okay, momentum is the most powerful change agent. When given enough momentum, nearly any kind of change is possible in an organization. So that's really what we need to focus on. Like if you have something going on your side and you want to make a change, that's the time to make that change, is when you have all that momentum. People like to get on a winning bandwagon. Followers trust leaders with a proven track record. So if you were to go to a sport or go to do something and your leader had terrible success record, they never did accomplish anything, they didn't have anything under their belt, would you be willing to follow that person? No. Okay, you want to be part of somebody or part of a leader's momentum that they've accomplished, they've done things. Okay, the next part is momentum is the leader's responsibility. You have to take responsibility for that as a leader. It takes a leader to create momentum. Followers can catch it. Good managers are able to use it to their advantage once it's begun. Everybody can enjoy the benefits it brings, but creating momentum requires somebody who has vision, can assemble a good team, and motivates others. If the leader is looking for someone to motivate him, then the organization is in trouble. If the leader is wanting or waiting for the organization to develop momentum on its own, then the organization is in trouble again. So momentum begins inside the leader. So that's what we're going to be talking about in our homework assignment, is how can you, as a leadership student or leader, whatever you decide to do in life, how can you build that momentum as a leader? It starts with you. It starts with vision, passion, enthusiasm. It starts with energy. If you don't believe in your vision, it's hard to create momentum. Okay, so as part of our homework assignment, this is what we say. When we say inch by inch, it's a cinch. If you focus on the small little tasks, it builds that momentum. Okay, some people are big on checklists. Okay, who in here, maybe adults, they start their day and they have a checklist of things they want to accomplish, right? Everybody has a checklist. What that is really the law of the big mo, right? You feel accomplished and you go, okay, I checked that off, and I checked that off, and I checked that off, and it gets easier to get going, okay? But when you start your day and you have 25 things, how hard is it to start that first one? Might be kind of hard, right? But if you have developed this law of momentum, you know that once you get that first one done, well, the next one's a little easier, and then the next one's a little bit easier than that, okay? So starting your checklist or starting that goal path starts small and it builds. So we say that inch by inch, it's a cinch. So to build momentum, you have to start with the small goals and then build in the larger ones. Think about something big that you want to tackle. I want you to list out 5 goals starting from small, like short-term, easy things for you to tackle, to long-term that you want to accomplish, okay? And I want you to write those down and say, okay, I'm going to start on this right now, right? Now, when I say a big thing that you want to tackle, I'm not saying something like 10 years down the road. Like, I want to become the president of the United States. That's good. But for this law of momentum, I want us to really kind of shorten it down. Think about something small, okay? Like, I want to earn my next belt, or I want to get straight A's, okay? Or I want to tackle a project in my house, okay? And as you start to tackle those little projects, you're going to feel more accomplished. You're going to feel that law of momentum. It'll become easier and you'll be more and more motivated, okay? We talked about motivation in the last book review, in the Psychology of Winning. We said positive self-motivation starts with movement, right? The word motivation starts with you taking action, moving. If I start moving, then I get motivated. but I have to start moving. I got to start doing things. Okay. That builds that momentum. So these kind of go hand in hand, motivation and the law of momentum. Okay. So I really want everybody, this is big. I want you to think about that one thing. Maybe it's something you want to tackle this month. Might be a goal at home, might be something at work, might be just I want to spend more time with my kids and I want them to accomplish this. Whatever that is, as a student or adult, I want you thinking about how you can start with that small goal and build into it and get something bigger. Okay. So does anybody have one that they'd already like to share? Okay, Miss Maya. I like how interactive you've been already since your first day. You're sharing a lot.
I forgot.
Anybody else? How about any adults?
I remember. After,
Okay.
can I show you a few things after this?
No.
Sorry, Ms. Maya, sorry, we won't be able to have you share that kind of stuff. We only have a couple minutes left. Okay.
I know.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, Miss Addison. Okay, Miss Addison.
So one goal would be, it technically probably should be a big goal, but since I'm testing for my black belt this month, I'd want to like earn my black gold. So first step would be like earning my black belt and then learning the forms and stuff.
Okay, good. So you have a goal to hit your black belt this month, and then you're already focused on the next goal, which is good because you know the big thing is you're tackling a really big goal, and then the next one is just a progress check, right? It's just something pretty easy, but you're going to have that momentum at your back. Do you think that first belt is going to be easy for you to earn? When you accomplish something big like that, you earn your black belt. The success rate of our black belt students earning their black gold is almost 100% because everybody just went through a black belt test, they earn their black belt, and they go, okay, wow, I've got that momentum. That was it. That was hard, but this is going to be easy, right? So that builds that confidence. Good. Anybody else? Come on, any adults here? Mr. Robert, you got a goal or something at work or something that you want to tackle?
For me, one goal I have is to perform better in the black belt tests, because even things that I know, I lose when I'm on the floor. And so I'm thinking that might be a longer term goal, and I'm going to really think about what things I can do to lead up to that goal. One, of course, is practice, so you go in knowing your stuff. But that's something I've got to work on. Good.
Okay. And then, you know, I think, you know, if there's a component to being in the black belt test where you there might be some triggers, or there might be something as far as what pressures might be leading to that, and so taking those into smaller chunks and saying, okay, I'm going to perform in front of class all my combos. I want to ask Mr. Wagner to put me on the stage per se in front of everybody in class more, and see if he can challenge me by doing that. When you do those smaller incremental kind of things, that might help relieve and build that confidence and that momentum that, well, I did it in front of, you know, 10 or 15 people, and then all of a sudden now 50. And then maybe it's also just the fact that, yeah, it is 3 days long and you're being mentally and physically challenged and taxed. And so, you know, doing it at the end of class and saying, okay, I'm going to work out really hard, and then I want you to put me on the spot and test me and see how I do, because after 45 minutes, that might be it. So chunking it up into smaller little bite sizes like that, that will build that momentum and help you reach that goal. Good. I like that one. That's a good example. Thank you, sir. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, Miss Maya.
My goal is my big goal is I'm going to work on Nunchuck 1 for my most part, and then after I work on Nunchuck 1, I'm going to practice on my handstands and my cartwheel.
Okay, good. Well, you got a lot of patience too, because I noticed you didn't even flinch when your baby brother was yelling in the back. Good job there.
Yeah, he's not that bad. He's mad.
He's hungry. He smells dinner, I guess. Okay, good. Well, I think that's it. Oh, well, we got Mr. Fudge back. Mr. Fudge, what's a goal that you are going to focus on in chunking up and I want you to share. So to build that momentum, you have to start with small goals and build the larger ones. So thinking about something you want to tackle, something maybe in the next couple months that you want to tackle, I want you to list out some of the small goals and things that you can. So do you have any goals in mind that we might be able to help you chunk up? That was to you, Mr. Fudge.
Sorry, sir, you cut out there.
Oh, okay. No, sorry. So yeah, I was just wanting to know if there's any to build that momentum. Do you have a task or something you want to tackle and accomplish in the next couple months where you can now think about chunking up and hitting some small short-term goals to build that momentum?
So yeah, with like school and stuff, I've had a lot of like issues with communication with some of my teachers. So I'm working on getting a better email communication set up and stuff like that.
Okay, good. So you building that communication and starting something small. So setting some small goals, like maybe I'm going to email them more regularly, like once a day, and communicate with them, and then that's going to help build that momentum to build more communication. And then you can say, I'm going to try to, and you know, if you reach out to your teachers, I'm sure they're willing to help you because they're going to see initiative. They're going to see that you're trying to develop that communication. That's good. Okay. Awesome. Okay, well, we're just 1 minute over. So on that note, thank you guys all for participating. We're getting through the book. We only have about 5 more chapters here. So we're really close to finishing. Actually, 4 more chapters and we'll be done. And then we're going to start a new book. I am going to announce next week our new book. It's going to be exciting. It's something that we have never read before, and it's going to be very pertinent to what we're all kind of going through right now with COVID and all these things. So I picked this book to help us get through a lot of challenges. I think it's going to be a lot more interactive. And, you know, even though this book is great for leadership and we're learning leadership, it's also a college level material. So it's harder for us to understand and chunk up and kind of develop. But this next book, I think, is really going to be big for everybody. So I'll announce that next week. And on that note, everybody have an awesome rest of your evening. Thank you for joining us. Remember, we do have our Black Belt test coming up next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. So we want you all to tune in and watch that. So if you go to blackbeltimmersion.com, you go to the Black Belt site, you can actually see the live stream throughout the weekend and go up there. Sorry, blackbeltsummit.com. So we'll be posting that in Facebook and make sure you guys see the links on that. So everybody have an awesome night. Thank you again for joining us.
Bye. Bye, Miss. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Mr. Stott.